Okay, we will start the session. Request all to turn on your videos. सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् हरि ओम. So last week we saw the second verse. The first verse gave the Adhikari Lakshana. The first verse was Adhikari Lakshana, the almost something like a prerequisites, or and also telling you what Atma Bodha is all about, and who may want to read the book. It's almost like about know the book, about the book kind of. If you are keen on overcoming your desires, if you are keen on knowing who you are, if you are keen on getting jnanam, the right knowledge, and for that you need to have a steady mind. Even if you don't have it, you should have the inclination to develop it, at least. And this book is all about giving it is like a lighthouse towards that highest jnanam, a definition, a simplified version done out of compassion by Shankaracharya. Upanishads they may seem more more cryptic, and that has been kind of simplified for people like us to be able to absorb as the Atma Bodha, so that slowly, as we understand, we can even read the Upanishads eventually. If you just want to do Nidhyasana and completely be diving and swimming only in the ocean of Atman at all point in time. So that was the first. And then the second verse is about how this book is a direct path. Vedanta is a direct path. You are there, you can sit, direct path to understand the Atman. You can be doing yoga for many, many years. You may explore many different parts of you through that. But to know that higher divine self within, this is that pointer to that higher divine force within. So it's called a direct path. It is also said to be the most difficult path, a very difficult path also. In some ways, though it is direct, because it is direct, it makes it. But I personally feel, I mean, it is one's inclination. What is my inclination towards? So if I have that inclination, I can just get it like that. The self. What is that self within? It can just be a moment. In a moment, I could get it. So that is what. So the second verse says, Atma Bodha is a direct path to the knowledge of the self. So now we will chant verse 1 and verse 2 and then move on to verse 3. Anybody who would like to try attempt chanting the verse 1 and verse 2 till verse 3. I am not sure how many of you would like to chant, so please volunteer if you think you can do it. It's okay, it's a learning process. As long as you can read Sanskrit, it is fine. Should I chant? Okay. I will chant each half 2 times, so we all get used to the chanting. Tapobhihi kshina papanam, tapobhihi kshina papanam, shantanam vitaraginam, shantanam vitaraginam, mumukshunam apekshyoyam, mumukshunam apekshyoyam, Atma Bodho vidhiyate. Atma Bodho vidhiyate. Bodho anya sadhanebhyo hi sakshan mokshaika sadhanam pakasya vahni vajnanam Vina moksho na siddhyati. Vina moksho na siddhyati. Now, can I have anyone volunteer to repeat after me? Yes, Rajesh.
Yeah.
Avirodhitaya karma.
Third words, okay. Avirodhitaya karma. Avirodhitaya karma.
Na vidyam vinivartayet.
Na vidyam vinivartayet. Na vidyam vinivartayet.
Vidya vidyam nihantyeva.
Vidya vidyam nihantyeva. Vidya vidyam nihantyeva.
Tejastimira sanghavat.
Tejastimira sanghavat. Tejastimirat sanghavat.
Yes. Now you can mute yourself. We will chant the whole thing together. Avirodhitaya karma na vidyam vinivartayet vidya vidyam nihatyeva tejastimira sanghavat. Now, Rajashriji, would you like to break the words and tell the meanings that is given there?
Yeah. Avirodhitaya. Avirodhitaya means since it is not opposed to karma action, na not. Avidyam is ignorance. Vinivartayet destroys. Vidya is knowledge. Avidyam is ignorance again. Nihanti destroys. Eva verily. Tejah light. Timiras Sathyavat.
Sanghavat.
Sanghavat. Timiras Sanghavat as deep darkness.
So, without reading the actual translation, what is it that you make out of? See, it's like that, decoding for us. We have the individual word meanings, and then what does it speak to me? Without reading the translation, if you just had to look at it, avirodhitayat, since it is not opposed to karma, action, na avidyam, ignorance. It is does not, and then it is vinivartayet, destroys. So not destroys ignorance. Vidya, knowledge. Nihanti, destroys. Eva. Vidya eva nihanti. Tejaha timisangavat. Timira sanghavat. As light destroys deep darkness. What do you think it speaks of? Whatever comes to your mind. You don't apply your intellect too much. Just go through the words and allow it to dawn on you. Just engage lightly with the words. Anybody? Since it is not
ignorance.
Uh-huh.
No, I don't know. It said ignorance destroys light. Or I don't know if it's the other way. Like if because of ignorance, there is
You
no
also
light.
have a sense of ignorance cannot destroy light. So it should be the other way around.
Yeah, see, I don't know because I'm just like, I'm taking it at face value. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I thought, because it says not in two places. So
Yeah, but it's just that in Sanskrit, you shouldn't put it together like you do in English.
okay. So it's the other way. Then light destroys ignorance, which means light is knowledge. So maybe this is like the verse Asatoma Satgamaya. So that which brings you to light from darkness is knowledge and action of something good. Like a good action destroys the ignorance, and then the ignorance destroys darkness also. Okay.
We'll keep it at that. We'll keep
Yeah.
it. Okay. Anybody else has anything else?
I would just say, I think the second line is probably easier to guess for me. So probably like light destroys deep darkness, knowledge destroy the ignorance. I'm not able to guess the first line.
Right, yes. Vidya vidyam nihantyeva. Vidya avidyam nihantyeva.
Eva.
Vidya avidyam nihantyeva, it says destroys.
Yes.
And tejas timira sanghavat.
Tejaha means light.
Light.
And then Timira Sangavat is as deep darkness. So probably it's leaning towards it.
Like light and deep darkness.
Yes.
Avirodhitaya karma. Since karma is not opposed to action. Since action, karma is action. Since karma is not opposed to ignorance, na vidyam vinivartayet. And hence, it cannot destroy ignorance. Okay. karma cannot destroy ignorance. Basically, that is what it says. Karma, action cannot destroy. So now we will get to the translation. It says, action cannot destroy ignorance as it is not opposed to ignorance. Knowledge does verily destroy ignorance, just as light destroys deep darkness. So why can action not destroy ignorance? And they are talking about actions which could even be me performing something, me performing a yajna, me doing, they're not talking about just mere worldly actions. Even other, because they are trying to establish the importance of this direct path here. In yoga, you're doing something. So this is a direct path. So every path will say, now this path, why it is the best. They will always try to establish that so that your mind doesn't waver. And hence they are saying why this direct path is the best is because through action, either through doing yoga or through doing scriptures or through doing dana, karma yoga, all of this, it cannot be destroyed. Only this direct path can lead you to the highest. Is how they claim. Everything will claim that. Every path will claim. So now let's, they don't say this is the only direct path, only path. They say, but this is the best path. They'll always say that. Okay. So I want to share with you, so that you understand this, why action cannot, I want to just share this is something that Gurudev Chinmayanandaji uses a lot in all his dealings. Whenever he speaks about, this is like a base he uses. So I would like us to know, this is called the BMI chart. Okay. I'd like us to know this because once we get a feel of this, we will have a very clear picture of our makeup. This is another way, Panchakosha Viveka, he has described this in a beautiful way. So what he'll say, Omkara, it is basically our core is nothing. That Bindu, that Omkara, that truth or the eternal truth is the supreme consciousness is denoted as Omkara. Everywhere in this universe and within me, there is only that Omkara which is pervading. But then there are some impurities in the form of vasanas. Some impurities within us which we have collected over many, many janmas in form of subconscious impressions within us. So when this Omkara shines through these vasanas, so as the Omkara, it is only Paramatma, the supreme consciousness. But once this, like the light when it shines through a prism, splits up into the Vibgyor colors, the multiple colors. Like that. But without the pure light, there is no 7 colors. Only because there is the pure light and it has passed through a prism, there is these 7 lights that are coming out. And then from that multiple colors come out. Similarly, there is only supreme consciousness. Because of this prism of the impurities or the vasanas that we have collected, we experience ourselves as the body, mind, and intellect. Now, this whole thing, we become the Jivatma. Omkara plus vasanas plus body plus mind plus intellect. This whole thing becomes the Jivatma. Whereas only the Omkara is supreme consciousness, Paramatma. Okay. So now, what does the body do? The body perceives objects. The eyes see an object. The ears hear a sound. The tongue feels a taste. The nose smells fragrance or whatever. Similarly, all the body is the perceiver of objects, and also it performs actions. We also perform our actions through the body. Mind is the feeler of emotions, and intellect is the thinker of thoughts. Okay, this is how Gurudev uses. So if you see this, the subject of experience, body is the subject of experience, perception is the action, and objects are. So when I am saying, now when I say I am seeing Bhargavi ji, so who is seeing? That is the body. What is the action? The action is seeing. Who is the object? Bhargavi ji is the object. Similarly, when I am feeling something, the mind is the subject, there is a feeling. And what is the feeling? It is feeling a certain emotion. The emotion can be happiness, sadness, hurt, agitation, anger, jealousy, fear, kama, krodha, moham, all of these. Similarly, I have a thought that, am I good enough? I am confused. Why does this happen to me? So that thought is the object. There is an action of thinking. And who is thinking? That is the intellect, which is, the thought is coming from. So it's like vaguely like an intellect. Now this field is the field of ignorance. And this field, supreme conscious, is the field of knowledge.
Knowledge.
So vasanas plus body plus mind plus intellect becomes the field of ignorance or ego. We also call it the ego or the lower self. The lower self. And this Omkara is the higher self, the supreme consciousness within. And we call that the higher self, that is the seat of knowledge. So now what happens when the body is perceiving something, or the body is perceiving something and trying to figure out what it is, or the mind is feeling something, and while you're staying in the mind, whenever you perform an action, you have to stay in the mind and perform the action, right? To perform any action in the world, we have to engage with the BMI. It is given for a certain purpose. The BMI is here for a certain purpose, to perform, to kind of enable us to perform in the world. But if there is I have not introduced you to that, but if there is a confusion, or there is a agitation, a vikshepa, or a delusion that is there in my mind, and try to figure it out here, why is this happening to me? What is the reason? Where is it coming from? When I go into that kind of action mode, where am I operating from? Am I operating from the lower self or the higher self?
Intellect.
I am trying to figure it out using the intellect. Isn't it? So is that in the lower self or the higher self?
Lower self.
It is in the lower self. Isn't it? So now this verse is saying, so this lower self is the field of ignorance.
Yes.
So this verse is saying, action cannot destroy ignorance. What are the actions? My perception, my feeling, or my thinking. None of this can help me remove my ignorance, because all of this are in the space of ignorance. So being in the space of ignorance, how can I come out of ignorance? Is this making sense? Or is this,
Yes.
or did I confuse
Yes.
too much? Huh?
Yes,
As
yes,
we-
it is.
As we have understood right now, we know that there is a higher self, but we cannot experience it.
We cannot know.
We
You are
have no-
experiencing it every moment. You are just not, yes, Vindhya.
Yes.
See, knowledge of self is higher. Now, karma, what Aarti is saying is in the perception, like, when we consider ourselves or identify ourselves with certain image, like right now, I am Vindhya with all my thoughts, the vasanas, everything actually reflecting in this form. But when we get back to the true, realization of self, when that is again reflecting through our vasanas, again in our karmas, it will reflect. But the thing is, we have to be established in that. Like the flavor of certain thing, like maybe sugar or anything, will pass on in the food in whichever you add. It might be different dish that we are eating, but that self will be there in all of these things. But only thing what is not making us realize that there is, for example, let's take jaggery. We add it to most of the things or anything. I'm just giving a layman example that you might add it to sambar, rasam, everything. But we do not take the simple jaggery, what is there, the taste of it in that, because there are so many things involved in that dish already. And there will be dominant things that are there, like you might be other spices, other pungent things. Now, I am just bringing it to a layman example that this, what we are perceiving through this image or frame of certain body and mind and intellect, will overpower this realization of self. And once we say that we want to realize only the taste of that sweetness in this dish, we will definitely know that, okay, this is added to this. Maybe not. But where it starts, it only starts with the ingredient thing, because our sense organs, like Aarti was mentioning, the Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas are outward moving. Once, like tortoise, it moves its legs inwards. That is when all our sense organs, our karmendriyas and jnanendriyas, will be only directed to ourself. That means we will be established in the knowledge of self. There is nothing else. I am only pure this self. I have taken this form of, like, say, Vindhya, or this form with this, and I have certain vasanas, I have certain desires. Only through that vasanas, it is like, reflecting in a larger, maybe if I have to quantitate it, it will be like larger in a way that I like only these things, I dislike. This is all coming through the image, but the self is already there in that. When the indriyas are moving inwards, then we are established in self. And what we do is we start witnessing. We witness it like, okay, this image of Vindhya is seeing this, perceiving these things, feeling these things, and thinking these thoughts. So the realization of self is the right knowledge that we saw in the second, this thing also, the sutra. And the right knowledge, that knowledge, once we are established, these things moves like, the inward. The indriyas are more focused inwards and established in self. You can just go, all karmas can happen, but in that karma, there is no that ego, or what we can say that ahankara in that. It is asmita. We say that we recognize the body, mind, and intellect so happening, observing all things. So that is when the karma also can become pure. Till then, when that self-realization is not at its peak, the karma will happen in the realm of this identification of so-called body, mind, and intellect. Then the self might be only covered. It is not that we are not experiencing it. It's only covered. The minute that it is opened up, it can't. Like, see, I give you a gift. There is something in the box. Once you open it, the thing that is there, that is there. 1,000 times you cover and wrap it again and again, you still know that the gift, what is there inside. Suppose I give you a beautiful necklace, you know that it is there inside. That is the thing. And how many times ever you pack it and give it, or then you want to open it, it will be again knowing that this is what is inside. The knowledge, true knowledge of self is like that necklace or the diamond that is there. So once you have opened it, you can't really again cover it. So once we have realized that, all the karmas will happen only through the realization. The thing is, we have to reach that spot right on. Till then, we need to be patiently putting the efforts, and all karmas should be with at least theoretical realization of there is self there, and it is through that only the karmas need to happen. That is why previously also any austerities and all we do, that might not amount to right knowledge, but it will lead us on the path of that if done with the pure intention. That is how we can take this. Yes,
You,
yes.
you mean to say that while you are speaking, you are telling that Vindhya is speaking, I am the Atma. You are witnessing that while speaking right now. Right now, you are witnessing your speech and the class, everything. Is it?
I am
Am I right?
I am trying to establish myself in the knowledge of self and witness this body, mind, and intellect, that the way that I am conducting myself in this class.
Yes.
Yes.
Awareness.
Yes. And with
So I have a question,
awareness.
follow-up
Yes,
question for the same thing she said. So when you say, living with awareness or living in the present moment, understanding what that means, how can we connect this awareness that we need to bring into living in the present moment? And I understand that that also means not living in the past or the future, to kind of understand that whatever objects or feelings that I am having is of this body, mind, intellect, right? So then how does one continue to feel that in every moment? What is the practice, or what is the way in which we can continue to do that? Through knowledge, because this book says knowledge is the path towards this, right? So I mean, I understand that there is a kriya part of this that allows for you to do that. For example, like doing some kind of kriya yoga, or doing some kind of sudarshan kriya. So if through knowledge is the one solid path of attaining something like this, how do you do that while living in the present moment? Like how does that work as per this path?
Oh,
Go ahead, Vindhya.
shall I go ahead? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take it. We'll use an example for this. Suppose I'm walking on the road right now, and maybe I am not very friendly with one person in my neighborhood. And, there might have been certain incidents in the past which were not very favorable, or say in a negative way. Let us not discuss whose fault was it or who was what and all, but right now we are not very amicable. And now I'm just walking, and that person meets with an accident. Now, what do I do? As a person established in the self, what do? I can do
Humanitarian way.
Help
We
them.
should do it.
help them.
Help.
But I do not like that person. Okay, might be given to certain incidents or anything. Right now, we are all discussing Atma Bodha. That is why we are saying we need to help. This overcomes. Many times there might be very deep rooted things that might.
Your internet is not very good, Vindhya.
Like, oh shit.
But
Okay, can you hear me now?
for a
Aarti?
long time, we could hear. The last few moments,
Seconds.
you were freezing.
Also, my question was in succession, like not one activity or one person or one emotion. I'm asking more in terms of, for example, like meditation and kriya help you with the process of staying in awareness. So I'm asking, in the path of knowledge, what is that prescription for something like this? It was my question.
Abide in your Atman.
Okay.
That is the direct path. They say know that you are the Omkara. There is no other prescription. Because any other thing comes in the lower self, that BMI, you have to act. It comes in the scope of the action. That is what the shloka is telling.
Okay, yeah, I understood. Yeah.
It is saying everything, any action you take, whether you're thinking, whether you're chanting, whether you're reading, whether you're, what are the other things you can do? You are doing dana, whatever, karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, everything. I would keep bhakti yoga separately right now. Okay. So everything, if you have to do something, or if you have to perform an action, you will perform the action from the space of the lower self. It says, just turn around and look at it is Ramana Maharishi's thing. The only thing you need to remind yourself is, who is performing this action?
Aarti, can you hear me now?
Yeah, better it is.
All right. So the way that I was giving that example, the real person who is established in self will go and help. And others might get slightly carried away. And I would want to dig up my past, because mind is very active in these things. It will not look forward to the good memories that we would have had with that person. Immediate tendency is to go to the negative things. And we might not want to help. Now that we have helped, or we can't say helped, we only saw ourselves through that situation. The next situation that we encounter that person, I can't be expecting him to be grateful to me. There are two things, okay? First is, I'm not even talking right now of being established in self. I'm only talking about the breaking down of the loop of thoughts and actions, and not forming a connect between two things, objects or people. This is a pure individual context that we were dealing with. And we gone through that. Whatever was in my capacity, I did. And now that context is over. Similarly, what happens is, sometimes we encounter someone doing wrong there. Like, mistreating an animal or anything. Want to pitch in to save or do the certain thing, we will do it. It is in our capacity to reach to certain extent and save it from that person, whoever is trying to harm. But overall, we can't see that, or we can't hold that thought maybe after I am gone home, that person might again disturb the animal. And then, who will be saving it? And this is the loop of thoughts that I am forming. And based on that, the mind builds up a world of its own. This should not happen. The situation, the karma established in self, should pass through context to context as if it is fresh. Now, this was only in context to when I'm passing on the path, on this thing. Many a times, problems will arise when only the family is indoors for longer duration. All the arguments or the problems will rise up only when we see our own loved ones for longer duration. How do we do it then? It's again the same thing. Context to context. Let's not carry it on for the next context. Okay, this minute, this context, I was able to disagree. Next context, I do not have to hold the burden of it because I was bitter with you or disagreeing with you on that. Now, though I want to agree with you, I will not agree with you. Now what is happening is, I'm trying to connect two situations, trying to pull the people into the same situations. Instead, if I take every situation fresh and the karma is based out of the situation, what my established self wants me to do without any holding back, like we discussed in previous session about karma, like not about the expectations, but just doing it, putting the effort to reach certain things, then it will go on. That is how context to context we can move forward and be established in self. Like Aarti was saying when I connected back, that all the time you are playing the role, being focused, like, you are like that cow tied to this thing when you are like actually making the oil. it will run. The thing is, self needs to be like that, not the desires, so that we move around it. Every fresh context, without pulling the people and objects to it repeatedly and dealing with it and doing what is required in our capacity, not going against dharma, will help us to sail through and be connected to self all the time.
And does it reduces our vasanas, past vasanas, and not accumulating future vasanas?
Definitely, because one major thing what we need to understand in this is we are not acting as per our likes and dislikes. Because given a situation, when I disagree with my husband, I would definitely want to continue it for days till I get bored of it, right? When I'm not doing it, when I like to do that, I'm not doing it. That means I'm trying to neutralize my likes and dislikes. And when I'm doing that, whether we are truly aware or no, we are putting an effort to be in that witnessing mode. That neutralizes our vasanas.
So basically the crux is, we cannot not do action. We have to perform action. We are here, we are everything. We are performing actions, but we don't have this bhava of kartrutva, the doership, that I have to do this moment, like what Vindhya was saying. It's like me playing a role on the stage. This moment, I am playing this character because that is what the director has put me in. I go there, I play that role at this point in time, but I never forget who I am, right? I don't start thinking that I am that role. I don't say Ravana, I am the best Ravana. If I start saying that, then you are getting into a loop. You're carrying all of it back with you. But if you just go there, play your role, come out. Next day, there is another skit. You are playing a different role there. You go there, or maybe the same role you are playing in another place. But you never forget that all you're doing is playing a role. Playing a role, the actions are also like controlled from that higher Omkara.
Sutradhara.
He is the Sutradhar.
Yes.
We are just the conduits. We are just playing the roles here. So he is the Sutradhar and everything are happening through us. He is performing them through us. Or there is a divine flow that is happening, and in that divine flow is directing a certain energy through us to be there, to do something. So whatever I do, whatever actions I perform with this in the background. Then I don't get caught with it. Yes, Lavina.
So I understand and I appreciate the example I think Vidya brought in, clearly talking about a situation which involves other folks. So in that situation, probably, not putting a face on anybody and taking action based on what is right and wrong, we probably learned from the books or scriptures or from our elders, seeing them, we do it. But not that situation is easy, that's very difficult. But moving on and thinking about anything related to we do related to ourselves. So let's say tomorrow we need to take an action for ourselves, some decision making, something. In that case, we cannot be biased in many ways, right? It should be mostly going above the confusing state and then taking a decision. So how do we go about in such situation?
How do you go beyond the confusion? When is there a confusion? What are the kind of thoughts that come when we have confusion?
I think more choices create confusions. So we have multiple choices and we have to decide one. Lot of times
you have multiple confusions and okay, so but where is the confusion? You have multiple choices and you have to decide one. So where is the confusion in that? You just decide. Where is the confusion there? So I'm
The
getting down to the
confusion
root
is,
of the problem. Where is
so
it?
which one to pick is always a confusion.
Why?
Satisfying
Why
the
is that a
ego,
confusion
right?
is what I'm asking. Yes, Aparna.
Because I want to satisfy my ego.
No,
Like I want to be able
What
to
is that? What do you
satisfy,
mean by
like,
satisfying the
Correct,
ego?
or
because
what
the
would be?
most favorable condition for myself.
No, is
I
it?
would say based on my experience, Aarti, would be more or less whether today's decision would be still good in future situation as well. So we want to, based on today, we are thinking about future. So we want to make today's decision very well relevant and the best decision even in future. So that's
Ah.
create a lot of pressure in the head and confusion related to that.
So what are you doing? You're not living in the present and you're
Yeah.
living in the future,
Correct.
isn't it? You are living in the future. Okay, that's the first step. Somebody else wanted to add something here. Anu.
I think developing clarity about what we want, what I want, isn't that also knowing what I want? Sometimes we are not clear about our own purpose and objective. So when we look at options, then it leads to
And sometimes we are so clear about our options that also confuses us. Isn't that also
Isn't
true?
all that coming from intellect, Aarti?
It is coming from the space of the lower self. I want to figure out, and the
Yeah.
one thing I have to understand is that lower self is finite. It is limited. We are trying to grasp the limitlessness of the future in this limited mind.
Mhm.
We are trying to figure out what can happen in the future, the consequence, and try to take a decision. We want to know what the consequence will be and take the decision, all using this finite mind.
Correct.
Can we? Can this finite mind conjure up the possibilities, the infinite possibilities?
Based on my own experience, I can say, Aarti, from childhood, I've been making decisions. So I don't know what is right and wrong, but I just don't know any other way. That's why I've
What is
been
the other
going
way? Other way,
other
I don't know
way.
any other way other than making a decision.
Yes, other way than making decision based on lower nature. So I don't know how to go beyond the lower nature when it comes to decision
Excellent.
making
You've
for
come to a
myself.
good point. So what is it that you need to do?
To
That
rise
is where,
above the lower nature.
yes, that is where we say, I am taking this decision through this finite mind, which is limited. I don't know how it will go. And here's where that surrender
Mhm.
comes in.
Mhm.
The faith factor comes in. And I say, I am taking this decision. I don't know how it's going because this limited mind cannot conjure up the limitless possibilities. And hence, I go with this with faith, thinking, knowing that you will lead me. It will lead me in some. That faith, that Shraddha becomes very important there. Yes, Vidya, sir.
See, let's take an example. Okay. So right now we are studying this Atma Bodha. So we are still in the verse 2, Sutra 3 right now. So what is there in Sutra 30? Can we say right now, based on what we are just tried to explore through 2-3 sutras? No, we can't say. What is there in 60th Sutra? We can't say. But what we know is we have started exploring. So right now, your decision making, what you are talking about is whether it is for the family, for the kids, for our future, we make a decision right now in the present. So considering all the possibilities that I might foresee in my given capacity of understanding the self at right now or the given moment. And now I take the decision based on this. Whether I can go right or no, it is totally, no one can predict it, because everything is not, understandable by the human brain or mind. Now, having said that, tomorrow we might realize that maybe a few years later that this was a very good decision. Or we might say that there are only two chances of doing it. Now I can say that this was a very bad decision. But when we say it was a bad decision, alternates are still available there. We do not get stuck there and sit without doing. That is the beauty of life with karma, that we keep moving. Then we take that. And see, there also we do not have the ownership of, I have taken the decision, I am doing this right, and this has gone wrong. Nowhere. It is only the self. We like surrender, true, but we don't stop doing certain things. Now, this decision making is where we right now, with whatever the knowledge that I have right now. And always remember, Atma Bodha, on the path of spirituality, what we are trying to do, spirituality is always about self-analysis, not about world analysis. Through the self, where we stand, we can take certain decisions, make it work. Now that can go. It's like, we sit in kindergarten and then, with ABCD, tomorrow I say that this kind of like, some derivation might be tough for me in 9th grade or 10th grade. Who knows? I mean, right now I'm still learning ABCD. So tomorrow that derivation might be quite simple for me. And I have been staying up for like, 10 long years, fearing that it will be tough for me, or it might be tough for me, and I might go wrong in that. Right now, what I need to realize is, given to all my knowledge and what my mind, body, and intellect can perceive, I have taken a right decision. And moving forward, this right decision, so-called right decision, is only on the path of exploration of self. I will change, I will evolve. And based on that, I might still appreciate the decision that I have taken, like right now, after a few years, or I might say that this didn't work out. I have evolved much more and I can do it or rectify or do it better. Now, when we start thinking about it, about the evolution, evolving every time with the change, there is no fear in that, or there is no confusion in that. We only accept that we are evolving. We don't say that at that point I was too immature or anything. I say that I was learning then also. Right now also I'm learning. Evolution is happening. That is the beauty of life. That is the beauty of karma that makes us evolve. Only thing that we can do is established in the self. I can't know right now. Atma Bodha, which sutra will give me what kind of knowledge? And when that, right enlightenment will strike me, and then I start taking everything. Like I have seen that diamond or necklace in that box. And then how much ever you try to close, it will not close. But right now we are evolving. Let us take the beauty of it. Move every situation, taking it like, I get something new to learn. I get to evolve through this challenge or situation, however harder it might seem, however confusing it might seem. Then the beauty of life starts, opening up for us.
I
Yes,
would
Arti.
like to share something here. One of my my sutras or mantras that I have followed in life, which may come as an answer to Lavina's question, is as you walk, the path unfolds. This is something I have stuck by all through. Okay, initially my life, it was like a, like the typical go out. I worked in the corporate, software engineer, very, very typical life. Went through engineering. I was good in math, put in engineering. I went through engineering. Okay, engineering, natural thing. I then got at that time called computers was good, very, no self. I just went through became a computer software engineer, worked in it for about 10, 11 years. And then in the meanwhile, I had children. And at that time, I started somehow not feeling very happy with my choices. And then it is after I left my software IT that my life actually started. And I left the IT and I moved out. I jumped out. It was like jumping into the swimming pool and learning to, what will I do? I have been working all this time, so I didn't want. So then, but I jumped out, and then the next thing I got was one nursery school teacher. From some 1 lakh, I started getting some 5,000 rupees per month. Okay, no problem. Something, I had to do something. I went about. So, and then that's nursery school teacher 5,000. And then as we went on, so this was my life. And in the meanwhile, my children also, I decided first we put them in mainstream because that is what we are used to. And then we decided this is not the kind of learning we want for this. Everybody around is telling, no, how can you? Now it became difficult. When I was taking decisions for myself, it was easier. But when I took it for the children, what if they blame later? What if they say that you have put me in the mainstream, you should have put me here, you should have done this? I took, and I took them out and put them in an alternate school, which was, more nature loving and values and all of that. So I did that. But this fear is, and everybody around, no, what is this? There's so much competition out there. How will your children perform? What if they are not able to perform? All these words are coming in from everywhere. This was one major phase when I said, I will walk the path and it will unfold. We will see where it leads us. That is that leap of faith that you can take. This is how I went. I mean, I'm just trying to put it in a very experiential way for myself and how I have lived it. So that is what we did. We walked. There were it was not all that perfect a decision also. Okay, given whatever. I went thinking the school and the values were wonderful, but the children over there were very high-fi. You get one, whatever you decide comes with a certain package. Okay, the children were very high-fi and my children were very simple. So they didn't have too many friends there. Okay, so that schooling went a bit like that. Okay, but I just lay it out and I say that has taught them something. They have gone through that experience for a certain purpose, whatever. They have gained values also through that. So what is done is done. I'm not going to relook and say what happened. But then we keep moving forward. We keep is this the right decision, wrong decision? I can't keep looking at that. We just look at where is my next step? And I keep moving with faith. And when you live your life like that, life is beautiful. You are a learner, you are an explorer. It is an adventure. Life becomes an adventure. Similarly, later, turned 50, my children were only in 10th, but my husband, we had decided we will not be in IT. My husband was in IT, at least monetarily something. He also quit IT. We didn't have anything. Somehow he had done a yoga course. We never thought with yoga we can run a family. Okay, with paying 2 children's fees. My children are still in the 3rd year of college. We never thought we can run a family like that, but we are. Okay, it's been 5 years since 6 years since he, no, not 5, not 5 years, yeah. I don't want to make him older. But anyway, so 5 years since he quit the job and is a yoga teacher, and we are running a family. Okay, so it's not that there will not be problems. But what do we do when we have problems? We go back and start thinking, did I make a mistake? Did I take a wrong decision? Did I do this? Why? Maybe I should have taken the other way. Maybe I should not have done this. Maybe things, even if you were in an IT industry, you were doing everything, things can go up and down. Right? What has to happen will happen. It is my confusion that I put so much onus and responsibility on my decisions. I put a lot of onus and responsibility on my decision. I say, I'll just live life. It'll go whatever. That moment's mental agitation that has to come will come, whatever is the decision you would take. But you still go one step forward every time. You keep moving with faith. Sorry, I took a lot.
I think one of the sessions we also spoke about not taking ourselves too seriously, or our decisions very seriously, because it is like every moment is our destiny. So whatever we decide, in whichever way we go, it would already at the same time that it's predestined, there is also free will. So I like so then I mean living in the every moment or living with awareness also means that we get to choose who we want to be in that moment and then just constantly build on only in that moment and never in the past or in the future.
I can't regret that I was not this conscious when my children were small. Now I am doing Garbha Vidya. I can't keep regretting that. I am. Whatever was there, according to that, it went ahead. Today I am here. I am going with this, whatever I can do. And even if I try to put it too much into them, they only that much will go. It has to be their own trajectory, their own journey. I can't like try to push it into them because right now I feel, but because at that time I didn't when they were very small. So it will take its own journey. So there's no point in regretting. Yes or no?
So, ma'am, over the years, I have learned not to be in the victim mode. That is about not blaming others for how my life has gone, and to say that, okay, I chose not to work, I chose to be a homemaker. But then I can't point a finger to my husband and say, oh, because you didn't encourage me to work or you didn't support me. So, all that nonsense is gone. So I don't live like a victim. That makes sense. And recently I read this quote, which says, probably from Buddhism. So first thing is that you cannot blame anybody for whatever has happened in your life. It's all your own choices and whatever has happened. The second line says, you cannot blame yourself. You cannot blame yourself. When you stop blaming yourself, that is when you have arrived. So, like now you said, we look back at our choices retrospectively, we analyze that, and we think that, oh my God, I could have done that, but I didn't do it. It was negligence on my part, or especially when it comes to things about children. So, you can't blame yourself. So, we have to be that guilt free every minute. That is knowledge, but to put it in practice, so to get over this mind's habit of weaving stories, and so like we still, I mean, I do keep blaming myself. So but that thought is very beautiful, that you can't blame yourself.
Just walk the path and it will unfold itself. You take that next step. Don't stand and expect to know where this path is going to lead me. Only then I will take the next step. You start walking first. It will lead you.
And this is something, even Aarti, you might agree that we have learned it like last maybe a year since we started the Vedanta thing. Freedom and choice was something that we learned it, and we are very happy learning it, because that became the crux of everything that we discussed after that. The theme for any course or anything, the thing is, always our true nature is freedom, and we always have a choice. And what Anu was just mentioning was all about choice. And that is why the victimhood is not there. So it was all that you are connecting to the choice, to your freedom. All that you have chosen was bringing you back to that ultimate state of freedom. That is your true happiness, nature. And when that was happening, all the choice was within me. I was making the choice. Who am I to blame? And even if something went wrong, I would even say that it was a learning phase for me. It was challenge that I faced it beautifully, like Aarti was explaining previously. So whenever this has happened, I think this is freedom and choice is one of the greatest, concepts that we have learned over the last 1 year. So whenever you say this is always like, you have a choice, and that choice, you are actually exercising it, established in the self and the true nature of happiness and freedom. That is why there is no blaming, no victimhood, nothing.
Just own up that choice and say, this is the choice I took. At that point in time, this is what I could think. Yes, Lavina.
I'm sorry, just whole conversation drifted away from Atma Bodha. So I'm just gonna bring it back and just gonna clarify last thing which I understood out of it is I think whatever we are doing is actually coming based on our vasanas. And those vasanas are based on the state we have lived through whatever years we have lived. So, choice is only to just essentially elevate ourselves, doing the things towards knowing ourselves and being in ourselves. So, with that, no action of current can be perfect action.
Exactly.
Just okay. So, only thing what we can do is strive towards the perfection of being in the self or being in the omkara, essentially, as
With
long as we
every action, I remember the divine.
got it. So surrender is what you're saying
Surrender.
is the key, since we don't know anything better at this
Because
point.
that was a very good statement. No action can be perfect. No decision may be perfect.
Okay.
Raghuramji very nicely says, everything is a package. I want a husband like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. Maybe I will look like that for, that kind of a husband so much. And maybe after all of that, I will get that. But I will get a package. Along with that, I will get certain traits which I don't like. What will you do about it? Right? So any decision that we take, that we think this is what is right for me, comes with its own package. And what I am thinking is right for me also may not be right for me necessarily.
He
Okay.
I
gives
may
the
not even
example of
know what is right for me.
coconut. So the water and the flesh comes along with the hard shell. So it's like that. Raghuramji always mentions that anything that you choose always is a package. So what you want is 70%, what you do not want is 30%. So you will have to go through that 30%.
And you may think, Ayo, I didn't even think at that time. See, frankly, the way I got married and all, I didn't think too much. Okay. So I just went to the seriously, I 22 year. I mean, who even knows what you want from life at that point in time? Okay, I went there and I just okay, he's speaking very sweetly. He's like this, that, and parents said, yeah, family is good and everything is good. ठीक है, I wanted to work, but I just got married. I went in for some time. I was like, Arey Baba, is this what marriage is? This is how things are. And then slowly, overall, you see the crux. You see that at the base, things are all very nice. And I was able to see all the things that I thought I wanted at 22 were not the things would have been right which for me. What I got was actually I learned so much from being with this person.
I agree. That's in my case as well, Aarti. I keep saying that only mother thought through these things because, after living, I feel like these things I didn't even think about, but they came out right. So
Yes.
I agree with you.
Yeah, there are packages which I don't like also. So
But at 22, Aarti, that was what it seemed good. That was the best. That is why you took that step. So
yes,
now it's the evolution that we see.
yes.
And that evolution is again a package, what we are seeing. So at 22, we didn't know that, it's going to be something turning out into certain thing and then take it, everything seemed good. That is why at that minute, the decision making was based on that, seeming that it would be good later. So let's take forward this one.
So never think too much to take a decision. Whenever you have to take a decision, you have 5-6 choices. I sleep over it. And whatever pops up to the as the first thing in my mind that day, I pick it and I go with it. That's it. That's all you can do, and walk the next path. That's all.
And there was a
And the,
point we are
and the
working
beauty of
towards.
life is the uncertainty, right?
It's an adventure.
Unknown. Yeah. The unknown fact of life and the uncertainty is the beauty. Otherwise, if everything is known,
Very
like
predictable.
yes, it's very dull then.
It's very tough.
Yeah.
And there was also a mention that we are working towards perfection, reaching the self. It's we are not working towards it. It is the divine energy that is working through us actually to pull back us to that original form. It's only like when that energy is working, it's only that we are unfolding ourselves so that the divine energy, what is there working through us, merges and we become one. We realize that this is what it is. So even in our efforts to reach the perfection, it is that energy which is guiding and working through us. It's not actually us who is putting the effort, but it is that force that is actually working through us.
Just like that white light is shining, only because the white light is shining, there is a possibility for the 7 colors. But similarly, only because the divine is flowing through us, there is a possibility for us to take an action, think, or a decision, take a decision. So it is all coming because of that higher. So when I surrender to that divine, then there is somebody raise the hand.
Yes.
Yes, Rajeshri. We should be finishing it, but I think it's
Yeah,
we
ma'am,
can.
it's like I always, when I was younger, I wanted to study archaeology and go excavate in Egypt and all that. But of course, life gave me, it's like different this. And then when I had a special needs son after his diagnosis, I was a person who always did what I liked when I was younger. But then as you do things that you don't like, you realize how much you grow actually.
Yeah.
Because now my son is 18, and now I've realized how much tolerant I've become. I mean, maybe I still have miles to go, but still, the sort of how much I have changed, and in certain ways, I'm much more happier than I was when I was young. It's like doing things that you don't like, and it's like taking things as they come. It just makes you more tolerant and calmer. And as you said, there was a time when my son was 10 and we were like doing a lot of therapies for him, and he had developed PSTD and all that. So his behavior had become very bad. So then I could not see any future. Like, kya hoga, what will be the future? Then now he's 18 and we are there and things are happening. Sometimes, as you said, you just have to take the first step, which is there in front of you, and the rest God will take care of.
You have to keep moving though.
Yeah.
That's the one thing.
Even I want to share one very personal experience. Immediately after marriage, we were never in good terms with our in-laws. So it is almost 33rd year. Now, on the 10th of this month, my mother-in-law is coming back to my home. Okay, and with all your coaching and teaching, I make myself very tolerant. I am laughing at myself. So I have decided to view her as a mind, as an Atma. So if I imagine her physical features then and right now, all the flashback is coming through. As Mr. Guti told me right now that every minute should be fresh. I decided I will not carry any burden of the previous and talk to her. So making all the circus to purify myself and to get along with her. And they also trapped us while coming. Their ego was so strong. They have made a network of relatives. They spoke to my husband and told that the mother has decided to come to your house. If you permit, she will come, as if everything is planned and they have trapped us. There is no other way to say no. But I'm not thinking that I should say no to her coming. I'm very grateful to God for the opportunity so that I can reduce my karma, vasanas, everything. I can do my duty, which is very, very essential to burn all this. So again, I consider this as a divine play, an opportunity for me to whatever I have learned to put it in practice. So morning, I was little disturbed. I told my husband, see, how they have plotted. Instead of directly asking to take care of your mother, they have done all this drama. Then why should I scratch my head for somebody's master game, master plan? So let me plan to how to execute my days with her each and every minute, and how I should be peaceful and support my husband to take care of her.
This is
My
for your
duty.
next level of evolution, Bhargavi ji.
Yes,
You
yes,
moved
yes,
from
I'm
one
teaching.
thing, now the next level of evolution. That challenge is being, it is a blessing.
From morning, I'm remembering you. You once told that you ask your in-laws how you should be, what is that they want from you to be more comfortable. So I was remembering that word. I should be in a position to ask her what I should do to make her more comfortable. So I was from morning, I'm lingering with this thought and consoling myself. Again, it disturbs with all this background of education, experience of others. The mind goes back. But
I
anyway,
will close with one statement, Bhargavi ji,
Mm.
which somebody has also put in this thing in the chat also. So it's a beautiful thought where you say, we always go behind what I like and run away from what I don't like.
Yes.
But try not to do what you like and do what you don't like.
Yes.
That will free you. That is more freedom. Choose what you don't like and choose what you to do what you don't like, and choose not to do what you like sometimes when it is a
I've
craving.
decided to rise above likes and dislikes
If
and
you
do my
are
duty
focused
sincerely.
on growth and
Yes.
self-evolution, then this is a way to go.
Yeah.
So it is a
When-
challenge. And
When they told me, I said myself, this is a final exam for me.
yes,
Final
it's another
examination or
level.
a gate examination, I'm going to write to test myself, all the philosophical knowledge I've acquired.
Yeah,
To
it
put
is
it in
our choice
practice.
to make it Dharma Kshetra or Kurukshetra.
Kurukshetra, yes.
One simple thing, I'll not take much time. Just imagine what worked for me, I'm just sharing. When you come in an adverse situation, in a conflicting situation with other person whom you are not very amicable with, visualize that person is also consciousness, but the vasana after Omkara, what you saw in this thing, vasanas make all the difference. We are
Yes.
the same consciousness with different vasanas. She is a different, same consciousness with different vasanas. So the underlying energy is same. Only likes and dislikes is what that differ. That can be
Next,
worked on. So
next class I will share. By the time 3-4 days will be over, I will share my exam and results.
Yeah, one thing I want to ask Vindhya ji, you said na when we somebody we dislike or somebody we hate is in a negative unfortunate situation, and it is like up to us to help it. But that memory comes to what that person has done to us. So how do you I know it is part of the lower self intellect only. Memory is part of, but this memory we don't give attention to the memory. How do you
Awareness. Okay, Vindhya,
that
please.
is time. Yes, even if awareness is not being intensified at that time, you are overcome by that previous emotions. What are there? All this krodha, everything is coming up. Always remember that is when karma comes to our rescue. The thing is, what am I supposed to do right now in my capacity? See, even if I don't like certain person, I am in a position to lift him up, take him to the hospital. What is stopping me? That unknown abstract emotion of I don't like due to some incident. But apart from that, there is no physical thing that is binding me, not able to move or do anything. That is when karma. That is why karma is very basic to every jiva. Every jiva is bound to do karma. But the thing is, what is the intention behind that karma is always guided with that, by that self-awareness, that self. So in that situation also, choice will always be there. But when we have to exercise the purest form of karma as per dharma, what is required to do, we need to do. Then in my capacity as a human being, if anybody falls, whether it is my daughter, whether it is that neighbor, immediate neighbor, or a stranger, or this person that I don't like, what will I do? Whether most loved one, hated one, or a neutral person that is there, what is my capacity in that situation to do? If I'm able to recognize that karma, then I will definitely
So
say.
when you're talking about karma, Vindhya, you're talking about serving the person.
Exactly. See, that is an action then. When I do it without any, okay, that is a different topic. How karma gets into activity, probably when karma is more
We
in
will
detail
continue probably
discussed, we will
this.
continue
We are
that.
still in the same verse, so we will continue this
Exactly. So
discussion in the
how
next.
karma can become kriya, we will discuss it as and when it comes. But right now, if we realize that it is there in my capacity to do, why do I have to step back with an abstract emotion that I'm trying to create now, which is not happening now? I am bringing it, I'm visualizing and getting it that I can replay it, but nothing physically is happening. See, in itself, that situation is not reality. We know that. Higher sense, that is also Maya. But the thing is, right now, that is happening, that is, we can see. And what would be my karma based on that? I can definitely help. I can lift him, I can call because it is in my capacity to do. And will I do the same thing for my loved one, the person whom I don't like, or the person stranger also? That is what forms the base for the karma in those situations.
Also a lot of suppressed. We will discuss this in the next few, otherwise we'll keep going on.
Atma and Priya, we can have a complete
Yeah.
session based on that.
Thank you for empowering us.
I think for Atma Bodha, we have to keep 2 classes in the week.
Once a week and one, no. Atma Bodha continues through the week. This class is knowledge session, the rest of the week is practicals.
Hmm.
Yeah, correct.
Yes, yes.
Knowledge is easy, practice.
But at least it has equipped us now to face the situation.
Yeah, you
Even if
can't
it
just
is 10%,
keep,
it is better.
yeah, we need to have that application also, right? We need to also practice.
Each and every moment, it will be lingering in the mind. As she said, once we open the gift, it will not be the same. We cannot cover it. At least 10%, it will be glowing. If not 100%.
Asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya, sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukha bhavet. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Hari Om.
Thank you so much time you have devoted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Teacher's Day.
Thank you.